tell me. Mackenzie, what's in a good beginning?
Dialogue and dialogue sound. And
So, a good lead, right? Yep, a good lead. What else is in your beginning usually?
Usually in a good beginning is when the writer starts to introduce its characters.
Characters. What else is in the beginning? Priscilla, pay attention, please. What about your setting? Where's your story happening? That's usually in the beginning. Jennifer.
What you are going to do?
Yeah, kind of like what your story is going to be about. So you've got great beginnings, and then in the middle, we tell the story in order. Remember how we told her to cross our fingers?
Yeah.
So we start to tell it in order. First, this happened. Next, this happened. Then after that, this happened. So now I want to talk to you about closings. Okay? I'm going to read the end of a few books that we've already read. So I'm not going to read the whole story. I'm just going to read the endings of those books. And let's think about
Like
how they ended their stories.
Like Tattletale.
Okay? So the first one I'm going to do is The Paperback Princess. Now remember, I'm not reading the whole thing because we've already read it. But I want you to listen to the ending. And then let's kind of talk about how they ended this story. Okay? "Ronald," said Elizabeth, "your clothes are really pretty and your hair is very neat. You look like a real prince, but you are a bum. They didn't get married after all." What do you notice about that ending? What are some things that are in that ending? Kylie?
That it says, like, what happens, like...
Tells what the characters did?
Like, they didn't get married.
Right. So it tells the actions, it tells what the characters did at the end. Okay, Priscilla?
They were happy at the end? Kind of.
I don't know. Maybe she was. Jennifer?
She didn't get married with a bum. It tells like if they're
Okay. One thing I noticed, and maybe some of you might have noticed too, is that there's dialogue at the end. You know how we had some dialogue in some of our leads? Some of you use dialogue, which is people talking. You can use that at the end too. Yep, with the talking marks, the quotation marks. You put I need your eyes right here. So what they did at the end here was they used dialogue, and they also told what their characters did at the end. Those are two ways that you can kind of combine together to make a good ending. So listen again. "Ronald," said Elizabeth, "your clothes are really pretty and your hair is very neat. You look like a real prince, but you are a bum." So there she was talking, and then it said they didn't get married after all. So then it told what the characters did at the end. Okay, so one way that you can end a story is by using dialogue. Your characters are talking, and their words are what your reader will remember. Or they also used a final action. Describe what your character or characters are doing at the end of the story. So this did two of those. She talked, and it told what they did. They didn't get married. Okay, so now listen to the ending of Fireflies. "I held the jar, dark and empty, in my hands. The moonlight and the fireflies swam in my tears. But I could feel myself smiling." What do you notice about that ending? Nobody's talking in this one, are they? Kylie?
It says, like, good, you can get a good picture about, like, it flying in the tears.
Okay. Priscilla?
And you can tell by the tears that he has feelings.
Oh, you hit the nail on the head. Here it is, feelings. This is one way you can choose to end your story. Describe the emotions that your character's feeling at the end. Do we know how this character's feeling?
Yes.
How's he feeling?
Sad.
Sad, but he could feel himself smiling. So he's kind of sad, but kind of happy. Remember,
here's
he
the
didn't
sadness.
want to let them go,
But
but he knew he needed to, and when he did, the fireflies could survive. So feelings are another way, and also an action. It's also doing
Action
the,
word.
not the action, the final action. We know what he's doing. It's telling what he's doing. He's holding the jar in his hands. He's crying. And it's telling us about his feelings. Okay, one more.
A lot of these are mixed.
You can combine, and let me show you this. Did I put it here? Okay. Great endings sometimes, or great endings a lot of times. Here it is. Remember, the best endings use more than one strategy, more than one of these. It's okay, you don't have to just choose one, you can combine them. And those make really great endings. Okay, so this is what I think, did Miss Van Austin read you this?
Yeah.
one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I like that.
So let's read the end.
I wonder why they hug so much though. Yeah. That was my
All right. And the relatives drove on all day long and into the night. And while they traveled along, they looked at the strange houses in different mountains, and they thought about their dark purple grapes waiting at home in Virginia. But they thought about us too, missing them, and they missed us. And when they were finally home in Virginia, they crawled into their silent, soft beds and dreamed about the next summer. You notice there's no dialogue. I know that. Priscilla,
There is feelings.
there was feelings. They were thinking about tomorrow, or about next year.
And then the grapes that they had at home.
Mm-hmm. Did it describe what they were doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were driving home.
What's that
Kylie?
last one? It said that like they were thinking about their grapes.
So you're right. They were thinking about next year. And they were thinking about all that they had just done with their family. So a memory of the main event. The main event was they went to go see their family. And they were thinking about it at the end. They were having memories about it. Your character's thinking back and remembering the main event in the story. So they were remembering what happened when they were with all their family. So this one kind of had like final action. It was telling what they were doing at the end. And they were also remembering everything that had happened in the story. And they couldn't wait to go back next year.
And they have feelings.
Right. So I'm going to think about my story today, about my dirt biking story. And I'm going to try to think about an ending that I want to use. Let's see. I think I have an idea of what I want to do. And maybe you can tell me which strategies I used. So my story was, it ended right, or I had right here. My last part was, I see Brady at the top and zoom past him. I did it, I yell. So I'm at the top, I made it to the top. Now how am I going to wrap this up? How am I going to end it?
Hard to say what you're doing. So.
I think I'm trying to go back in my story and remember what happened. Use a color I haven't used yet. Yellow doesn't show up very well. And when I got to the top, Brady ran up to me and he started talking to me. He was very excited that I had done this. So I know one of the strategies I'm going to use is dialogue to end it. And he said, "You did it, Mom!" And he was very excited for me. Let me think how he said it. I'm going to close my eyes. He said, he hollered, and he had a great big smile on his face. So he hollered with
a great big smile.
a great big smile.
Bigger than a French fry. One of them big ones.
But I don't think that that's all of my ending. So I've used dialogue. I think I'd like to use maybe a memory of the main event. So let me think how I could do that. I was proud of myself for, what was the main event? What was I proud of myself for? Kylie, yes?
That you went up the hill?
I was proud of myself for going up the hill. I'm kind of remembering the main event. I was proud of myself for going up the big hill, up the hill.
Did you want to do it again?
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I couldn't wait.
To do it again. To do it again.
For the next big hill.
Well, it's even bigger. It probably can be.
Yes, the next even bigger hill. Okay? So I chose to use dialogue, and then I was remembering the main event. I was remembering going up the hill and how proud I was of myself for doing that. So I kind of combined two strategies, didn't I? I did a memory, and I did dialogue. There's dialogue.
There's no dialogue.
Yeah, right here. You did it, Mom! That's Brady talking to me. Okay? So I kind of wrapped it up, didn't I? Now I want you today to go back. Many of you are in different places. If you're in a place where you're ready to start your conclusion, then I'd like you to work on that. If you're still up here in the middle, continue working on that.
But did we ever start the ending?
This is the ending. I was just talking about.
And then
No, I
start
mean
a new
that-
story.
The ending, not the conclusion.
Ending and conclusion mean the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we just like.
Now, some of you have kind of already on your own started an